As President Donald Trump presses ahead with his attempt to end the war in Ukraine, he is relying on an old ally, Saudi Arabia's powerful crown prince Mohammed bin Salman. The success of the prince in mediating an end to the conflict could deepen his already warm ties with the American president, positioning Saudi Arabia as a key player on the world stage. More than simply providing his desert kingdom as a venue for talks, Prince bin Salman and his diplomats are expected to play a crucial role in brokering a peace agreement. According to officials familiar with the matter, Saudi Arabia is looking to leverage its influence in the international arena, particularly in mediating conflicts like the ongoing war in Ukraine. Trump is eager for a swift resolution to the war and views Riyadh as his best collaborator in this endeavor. Officials say that if preliminary talks between senior Trump administration officials and their Russian counterparts prove successful, efforts to arrange a direct meeting between Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin could progress quickly. This could culminate in a summit in Saudi Arabia within the coming month. It'll be soon. We'll see what happens. Trump stated on Sunday, "This should have been done 3 years ago, 4 years ago, before the war started, but it should have been done immediately after it started, as opposed to now." Historic venue for a US-Russia summit, from Vienna to Reykjavik to Geneva to Helsinki. History books are filled with US-Russian summits in Europe, reaching various degrees of diplomatic success. However, never before has such a high-stakes meeting been held in Riyadh. Several nations had offered to host an upcoming Trump-Putin summit, including Serbia and Switzerland. However, Russian officials reportedly viewed a meeting in Europe as biased toward Ukraine, given that most European nations have condemned Russia's invasion and supported Kyiv throughout the 3-year conflict. By contrast, Saudi Arabia has maintained a neutral stance, avoiding direct criticism of Moscow and refraining from joining the West in applying sanctions. Additionally, Saudi Arabia is not a member of the International Criminal Court, which has issued a warrant for Putin. This means the Russian leader can travel there for talks without fear of arrest. Trump and the Crown Prince, a strong alliance. Prince bin Salman, the de facto leader of Saudi Arabia, has cultivated close ties with Trump, as evidenced last month when he became the first world leader to speak to him on the telephone following his swearing in. "We are glad to work with you and with President Trump," the prince said, ahead of a meeting with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, who is set to join National Security Advisor Mike Waltz and Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff for Tuesday's talks with Russian officials at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Riyadh. "We can work on positive things for Saudi Arabia and America, and also for many countries around the world," the prince added. If Trump travels to Saudi Arabia in the coming weeks for a meeting with Putin, he will become the only American president to make Saudi Arabia the site of his first 2 foreign trips for both terms in office. This marks a significant departure from the traditional visits to neighboring Mexico or Canada that many of his predecessors have undertaken. 8 years ago, Trump was welcomed in Riyadh with elaborate ceremony, including a brass band, a fighter, jet flyover, and a 5-story projection of his face on the exterior of the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. His decision to return underscores how he seeks to elevate Saudi Arabia's role in global diplomacy, while shifting away from European allies who have a greater direct stake in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Friendly ties with Putin. Prince bin Salman is one of the few global leaders who has maintained a close relationship with Putin since the invasion of Ukraine. The two share certain autocratic traits, including a lethal crackdown on dissent. "We know the Crown Prince, and I think it'd be a very good place to be," Trump remarked in the Oval Office on Wednesday. The Saudi Crown Prince has identified the Ukraine crisis as an opportunity to bolster his international stature. He previously hosted a peace summit in Jeddah in 2023 and has met individually with both Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Last week, the prince played an instrumental role in a US-Russia detainee swap, reprising a role he played in August last year when he helped broker the largest US-Russian prisoner exchange since the Cold War. He has a very strong friendship with President Trump, and behind the scenes, he was encouraging and using and looking for the right result, and it was helpful. It really was, said Witkoff. Trump's envoy, who helped secure the summit in Riyadh, would mark their 6th meeting and second major summit. Their 2018 meeting in Helsinki, where Trump sided with Putin over US intelligence assessments regarding election interference, remains one of the most controversial moments in US-Russia relations. For Putin, meeting Trump would continue a nearly 3-decade tradition of engaging with American presidents. From Clinton to Bush, to Obama to Biden, Trump remains unique in his openly favorable stance toward Putin. Tensions over Gaza, despite their strong ties. Trump and Prince bin Salman have differing views on key geopolitical issues, including Trump's controversial plan to displace Palestinians from the Gaza Strip and develop the land for economic purposes. Saudi Arabia has criticized the plan and is set to host Arab leaders later this month to devise alternative solutions for the future of Gaza. The proposal has been widely condemned across the Middle East and could be a sticking point in Trump's discussions with the Saudi leadership. Economic transactions at the heart of the relationship for Trump, one of the most transactional American presidents. Economic interests continue to shape his foreign policy approach. Investments from Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund could significantly influence his administration's stance on the kingdom. After Trump stated on his first day in office that he would consider making Saudi Arabia his first foreign destination if Riyadh agreed to purchase $500 billion in American products, the Crown Prince responded by offering to spend $600 billion over the next 4 years. A day later, Trump raised the stakes. I'll be asking the Crown Prince, who's a fantastic guy, to round it out to around $1 trillion. Trump told the World Economic Forum in Davos. The crowd laughed, but Trump's expectations for Saudi investment remained clear. As Trump seeks to broker peace in Ukraine, the geopolitical and economic implications of his close ties with Saudi Arabia continue to evolve. Whether this alliance will bring a resolution to the war remains to be seen, but it has already reshaped global diplomatic dynamics in significant ways.